Good day, everybody. My name is Deb Simons. I am the Senior Marketing Director at Acrolinx, and it's my pleasure to introduce today's broadcast with SMASHDOCs and Acrolinx. And the title of the presentation is called A Perfect Match for Collaborative Authoring. So what I'd like to do is introduce today's presenters. We have two gentlemen from SmartWork Solutions. We have Christian Marchsreiter, who is the CEO and founder, and Christian Gericke, who is a CMO and CRO. And also from Acrolinx, we have Ulrich Callmeier, who is our CTO and COO. So before we jump into the actual broadcast, just a couple of things to cover off. First of all, we love questions. So please be sure to pop those questions into the question panel, and we will address those after the broadcast. And secondly, I know a number of folks like to receive the recording as well as the slides. So we will also have that available post the live webcast. And if you'd like to follow us on Twitter, you could see our hashtag Acrolinx and SMASHDOCs. So with this, I'd like to turn it over to Ulrich to begin the presentation.
Thank you, Deb. So let me start by giving you a little bit of background on Acrolinx. We work with some of the greatest brands in the world, and our technology helps them to create amazing content that is on-brand and on-target at scale. We do this across a pretty wide range of verticals. You can see verticals here from software to manufacturing, and all the way to healthcare and financial services. Before I go into what Acrolinx does and how Acrolinx does that, I want to give you some context around why impactful, consistent content plays an ever-increasing role today. And there has been quite a buzz in the past few years around customer experience. What does it mean to your business and to your content? In the end, customer experience is all about continual customer engagement. And that engagement needs to give your customer a consistent experience and create a clear understanding and reflection of your brand. So Accenture published a little more than a year ago, they published a report that took a pretty deep look into what role customer experience plays for B2B companies. You can easily find this on their website if you look for this title here. But I'll highlight the summaries here. What they found was quite interesting. Companies that do customer experience well are rewarded with higher growth, but only a few companies really excel in delivering effective CX. So let's look at one of the central concepts in customer experience, the customer journey. I think many of you will have seen this kind of textbook diagram of what a customer journey looks like. This is the theory. What does this mean in practice? So how do you deliver a consistent customer experience across this journey? There's lots of implications, and we will come back to this diagram later in the second part of this webinar, when we look at some of the technology pieces that are involved in this, delivering content in this journey. But one of the main things is that this means that the traditional content silos that you used to have of, marketing, your social content, your post-sale content, pre-sale content, technical documentation, all of this is going away. The silos don't really work anymore. There's no useful concept of post-sales anymore. So we'll come back to this diagram in a few minutes. What we have seen is that more and more enterprises embrace this joined-up customer experience. You can see it from Daimler-Benz to financial services industry. I'll go a little deeper into one example of Volvo. Volvo is a long-standing customer of Acrolinx, and they have been executing on this concept pretty early on. I think many of you will have seen this video on the left of Jean-Claude Van Damme doing the splits, between these two Volvo trucks, which are driving backwards, demonstrating just the extreme precision of these truck steering. So pretty impactful video, but I think what many of you maybe don't know is that Volvo followed up on this kind of first video with very precisely targeted content that then helped to convert the interest that they generated with the video into actual top-line impact for their business. So they did specialist videos, they had brochures, they had product data sheets around this, and they really produced highly targeted content across the entire customer journey. One of the early examples of very, very good execution on this concept. What we also see is that in practice, the customer journey is not as straightforward and as linear as you may see it in textbook diagrams. What you have in reality is more of a chaotic journey like you see here on the left. You have engagement points all over the place and at any time. Why is that? So one of the main drivers behind that is just if you look at the number of channels that we are serving, the number of channels that customers are using, they have exploded. And that makes consistency and delivering content across these channels an ever harder thing. So what's really the fuel behind customer experience? The main thing that's driving customer experiences is content. But that content, unfortunately, doesn't just appear magically in the form and shape that you need it in, but it takes a lot of planning and it takes a lot of work. There's lots of people involved, lots of departments involved, lots of different technologies involved. And it turns out that very few companies have a plan for creating this content. We know that, in some measures, 50% of marketing spend is on content creation. So that shows how much impact that can have, but the planning that happens behind that is often lacking. So, and this is where Acrolinx can come in. Acrolinx can help with the planning part, and then also supporting top-notch execution of your of the strategy behind this content. When we talk about very high level about Acrolinx, we're looking at three main pieces, and we're talking about goals, guidance, and governance. So first, you set your goals for your content in Acrolinx. What are your actual content goals? What are the target personas that you want to address? What tone of voice, what writing style will engage them? You can do this in terms of the terminology and word choices that individual personas prefer. You can configure style and tone of voice for different audiences. Once you have set up your goals, Acrolinx will continually measure your content against those goals and then allow you to tune and adjust. So you can validate your goals, you can learn from the checked content, and you can adjust your goals according to this learning from your actual content. Second kind of pillar of Acrolinx is providing guidance, and this is something that Acrolinx provides to all your content contributors as they create content. So we integrated in a large number of authoring environments, and we'll see a live demo later in the SMASHDOCs demo, where you can see how Acrolinx provides guidance to content creators right inside the SMASHDOCs platform. But the same kind of integration is available across a large range of authoring solutions. The last pillar of Acrolinx is the governance functionality. This is available on a number of levels. So we have scorecards that give you a comprehensive overview of quality and the different aspects of quality, and how you measure up against your content targets for an individual piece of content. But you can also do this as a baseline across a whole content repository or a complete set of content assets that you store, say, in your content management system or in some other repository. And then you can get metrics across the set of assets within Acrolinx. And on top of all of this is a set of very powerful analytics functionality that helps you to track overall content performance. So you can track, content performance across different departments, languages, and you can see trends over time, and you can correlate this with actual impact of your content. So let me summarize this. Three pillars of Acrolinx. We have goals for all aspects of your content. This is around brand, around audience, compliance, findability, precision. We have guidance for your content contributors. Wherever they create content, you'll see a live demo of that in SMASHDOCs. And we have governance for your content team. So you have transparency and control over the entire customer experience right within Acrolinx. So before I turn over to Christian for the SMASHDOC section, I'd like to talk very briefly about the business impact of content. So you may wonder, okay, so why do I need to set goals for my content? Why do I need this guidance? And we have published a report last year that shows the impact of content along a number of dimensions. I just want to highlight one of these findings. What we did here was we compared the conversion rate, how likely is it that someone would click on an offer, and the offer was in the form of a piece of email. And we compared this probability between two pieces of content. And what we found was that the content with a higher Acrolinx score performed significantly better, giving you almost a 3x conversion rate. So the A content you see here is the content with the higher Acrolinx score, and the B content that you see here is the content with a lower Acrolinx score. And this is not an artificially low score. This is kind of the typical content quality that you get, let's say, from a freelance writer, which is not tuned to your audiences, which is not tuned to your goals. And then content A is tuned with Acrolinx and brought to a higher level of quality, and you get this kind of impact. If you want to know more about this and find all the details and a lot more, you can download our Global Content Impact Index from our website that contains all of this and a lot more detail. Okay, so now I'd like to turn over to Christian Gericke from SMASHDOCs, and he will tell you how their solution can help you to tear down those content silos. Christian.
So hi everybody. Deb, can you make me a presenter please quickly? So hi everybody. This is Christian Gericke from SMASHDOCs. So I wanted to pick up the idea from Ulrich and talk a little bit about how collaboration plays into the idea of the customer's journey. So document collaboration is an everyday task. When you just see the immense amount of content applications and document applications which are around there, you always need, to a large extent, document collaboration, so people collaborating and contributing to your documents. Picking up the idea, what Ulrich said earlier, the prospects, which are maybe on your website, they see a lot of content on their journey. And keeping the content consistent is a constant challenge. And when you really look how content gets created, this is how it could look, right? Content, and that's a buzz which Ulrich also talked about, is created in silos. So what we did, we tried to map, as an example, all the different content types to content contributors. That could be marketing, that could be even third-party agency, localizations, PR, but it could be also product management and so on. And you can see here easily that it's really hard to collaborate and to work together with your colleagues, because you have all these organizational silos, and sometimes, and I know that from many customers' communications, it's really hard to work with your colleagues. So we also mapped a little bit as a different authoring environments, and this is probably not accurate for a lot of customers, but there is a ton of technology which is being used to create content, and that makes it nearly impossible really to track all the changes and manage all the different versions. So what SMASHDOCs does, and that's how we position ourselves, is so we could basically, you could use SMASHDOCs to author content for almost every content type. So we are not, our goal is not to replace really heavy XML tools. We are not an XML editor, obviously, but you can use it for the collaborative authoring and writing. So the idea is to tear down the silos, and I wanted to tell you a little bit, I wanted to talk a little bit how document collaboration works before we move to the other Christian sitting next to me doing the real life demo. So you have a guy who's writing a document. We do this in Word just as an example. So from his point of view, the document is final, but it's only final until he involves his colleagues or third parties, and they are also contributing to this document. What happens then is they have a lot of versions, and these versions are piling up, right? You have notes, you have comments, you have changes, you might have even separate email conversations where people are trying to align on things, and this is really a mess. And I think everybody knows that this collaboration could be a mess easily. And often you find something like that. People are very creative in inventing funny names like contract final or pre-final with a comment or with Chris comments or so on. It's really messy, right? But the big question always customers are asking themselves is, what's been changed? What was the changes? So if you take your new document, right, and in the moment you write it, the clock starts ticking, right? And then you have your version 23, and it doesn't matter if it's Word or any other tool, right? It's the same mechanism. And the big challenge is then the comparing and obviously the proofreading. So you accept then all the changes, and you start creating a so-called compare version, right? You print it out, and you have, luckily enough, you have a big desk, and you put it all on your desk, and you start such proofreading and start to create a compare version, right? So, and what we also see is that to overcome these issues, right, customers start using or combining tools, right? You have communication tools, and you have tools which help you with the versioning and the sharing, and mail tools, and also highly specialized document comparison tools like Workshare and so on, which are really expensive. But all the combination of all these tools, it doesn't really solve the issue. And that's why we thought, no, we need to do something different, right? So we wanted to move the intelligence away from all these single tools to the document, because that would be really cool if the document could help you achieve all these goals with track changes. And that's why we invented SMASHDOCs. And we say SMASHDOCs is an intelligent document, and you will see that in just a short second. So it's a collaborative authoring environment which helps you to review and produce your documents very, very easy to use, very intuitive, and up to 10 times faster than so far. So at a glance, what are we? We are a web-based word processor. We are not an XML editor. We are a web-based word processor. We end up, we help customers ending up with the version confusion, and the intelligence sits in the document. So the document itself tells you what's new to you. So the document is changing its look and is always keeping you up to date and is giving you proactive guidance, what's new to you, what you've missed, and what you need to do with the document, right? So you can produce, we are very strong in our output and publishing capabilities. So we are producing perfectly designed documents with just one click. And as I said earlier, it helps you to come to the final version up to 10 times faster. So where's your intelligence, and what's our really unique selling point? So when you look how Word is handling the different file versions, it's a file-based approach, right? You have your versions, and to manage all these different versions, you need additional technology. When you try to avoid SharePoint and all that and move to cloud-based or web-based systems like Google Docs and Quip, it's slightly better. but you're still creating version after version after version. So if you're familiar with Google Docs, right, it creates version after version, and you don't know in which version is which change, and you don't know why it created a new version. It's really, really hard to track changes and to see and to find out what's new to you. When you look at SMASHDOCs, the document looks the same. It's a web document, but the magic basically sits in the way how we handle the data and the changes in the data. So we call each of these boxes, we call it a section, and you will see later what a section means. And we store each and every section, right? It could be a headline, could be a numbering, could be a text box, could be a table, could be a picture, separately in a database. So basically, we are managing all the content in a database. So we are managing content in the database directly, but it feels like an easy-to-use and intuitive web editor. So, but we are not just an intelligent word processing platform. So we have we call it the 3 steps, right? We have, you create your document, you review your document, and then you publish. So if you want to create a document, you can start from scratch, right? You start a new document, but you could also import your document from your existing Word file. But it's not only Word. It could come from Google Docs. It could come from a CMS. You could start the create and review process even with injecting an XML. Right? Then you do all the magic with SMASHDOCs in the middle, with the versioning, the commenting, with the change tracking, and so on. But we are also enriching our platform with external services. And one of the services you see today, and we are very happy to do that with Acrolinx, it could be e-signature, but it's linguistic checking like Acrolinx. And once you're done with the review process, you can export and you can publish your final file. So that could be Word, could be a standard template, but could be also your corporate template. Could be XML, applying every schema you need, or any DTD. Could be an ebook, and you're going to see that live in a sec. Or what you also could do is, if you integrate SMASHDOCs in your existing tool environment, you could also push the data back in the application where it came from. So if you start an authoring and reviewing collaboration process, for example, in your CMS or in your CCMS, right, then you do all the stuff in the middle, and then you push the content back into the CMS for further processing. So interesting enough, so we have a lot of demand where customers tell us, like, it's web-based, but we really want to run it behind our firewall. So that's possible. So you can install it in your cloud, in your own environment. So you can install it wherever you feel comfortable. So now it's demo time, and I'm happy to turn over to the guy who basically invented all of that. It's Christian Marchsreiter, so another Christian, and Christian, over to you.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to show you SMASHDOCs right now in a live demo. We will do this in with three people involved in this process. We have an author, which is starting the process at the beginning when he drafts a document. Of course, with the guidance provided by Acrolinx. Then they also will hand it over to the product manager, and these two guys will now collaborate by tracking changes and having conversations. And then the third step, when they agree on a version, they hand it over to the approver, and the collaboration process starts again. And of course, always supported by Acrolinx. I come back to this slide later if you see the demo. So from now on, you see a live demo on SMASHDOCs. We have several users. My colleague Christian will assist me as a second user. So what you see here is my drafting environment. So I already drafted something. I can insert a new section, for example. I can make this a headline, or it has a numbering, or whatever you need. You will find that in SMASHDOCs. And when you're done, or while you're writing your content, you have this Acrolinx integration, and you can check the content like I do right now. And here you can see these are all the suggestions that Acrolinx is giving me to this particular section. So it says, well, it might be too complex, your readers need a high level of clarity, or it says shorten the sentence, is a too long sentence, or we have a typo maybe right here. and or we shorten this sentence and things like that. So I go to the first section, or I can even select 2 or 3 or 4 sections and check these sections by clicking on the check button. And this is what Acrolinx says, and what Acrolinx is giving me guidance. And let's go to the first one, for example, just to give you another example, and you can see it says, well, it's an issue with terminology. So it says it's better to say key points, and if I want to say key points, I just click on key points, and you can see the content has been changed, and it's better to write it like this and not like this. And if I just want to do this, I just click on it and I'm done. So here I've got a typo, or it's better to say couldn't than could not. It's just easy, just click on it, and it's changed immediately here in my draft. So that's the first part. The author is writing something, is drafting something, and gets instantly support by Acrolinx, which is super cool because you can reach a very high quality of your content. But now we're doing the second step. Sorry, that was too fast. We're doing the second step. We hand it over to the product manager. The product manager is being played by my fabulous colleague Christian next to me. So I just invite him to this document, and we have different roles in SMASHDOCs. So he can be just a reader, which doesn't make sense right now, or he can be allowed to comment but not to edit the content, or he can suggest changes, or he can approve about changes. Let's just suggest him changes, which is a very cool feature, because I am the one which is approving his changes, but he has not the right and the ability to prove that. So I'm just writing him and say, please give me feedback, and I'm sending him an invitation, right? So he's now getting an email with a link, and he can instantly click on the link, and he will make some changes. So the first thing is, it is easy. If he would make some changes, and I can see him typing. If you see a demo in Microsoft Office online, or in Microsoft or in Google Docs, you see a lot of people typing at the same page. But honestly, this is not my reality every day. My reality is that I now go into a meeting, that I now have conversations with other colleagues, or I have a phone call. I don't see what my colleague is doing right now. But at the end of the day, I get a notification from SMASHDOCs saying, hey, there are some documents which have been edited, and you will see this. Just reload the page, that I get a notification here. So I have a lot of documents where I'm working on, but the SMASHDOCs is notifying me and saying, hey, there is one document, please take a look, but because there are changes in this document. Well, think of this situation. You don't have to look in your email account and search for the latest version, or you don't have to go to your document management system and try to find out which one of the freaking 23 versions is really relevant to me. So I just one click, there's a notification saying, take a look in this document. That's a very cool feature. Next one, I open the document, and it doesn't matter if it's just 2 pages or 300 pages. SMASHDOCs always knows what I've missed. So I have here a notification inside the document, and I can take a look, can make a walk through the document. I can see what's been changed. I can see that this image has been changed. I can see that this has been changed. I see changes in the table, and I see the last change here. Look at this, in what kind of speed I can walk through the document and track all the new changes that I haven't seen yet. And the only thing that I do is right now and say, click on this little icon and say, yes, I have seen it. Then you will see the highlighting disappears, and SMASHDOCs remembers my state of knowledge and can notify me if there is something new. So I just track the changes by clicking on this little icon, and I can see my colleague was editing the table, and I can see he was doing something here. Very good. Okay? Super easy. But there is also, there's another change he made. Just go there, and he was deleting this. We come back to this later on. We have also not only tracking changes in the content, we have also comments, yeah? But the comments are in an intelligent way. Again, the system is guiding me and saying, okay, there's a comment to this particular section. This is the word that has been highlighted, whereas the comment is referring to. And I said, yeah, it is. Thank you very much. And I'm done with this comment, and I'm sending it back. Then here's another change which was coming in, which is nice. So this is how we track the changes. The first thing that you've seen is you don't have to look for documents with new changes, because the system notifies you if there are changes in your document, and it's just writing you an email and say, open this document. In the second step, you open a document and you can instantly track these new changes because the system is guiding you. And if you make your own changes like this, then everything that SMASHDOCs always is recording every single change that I'm making, like this, as you can see, and I can even track my my decisions and say I'm fine with this, so I accept it. Look at the audit trail, and you can see here's the confirmation that I have approved this. It's very, very important if you talk about compliance. Who approved this? Who made this change? It's just one click in SMASHDOCs, and you can see the whole history to every single section, for example, for text, for images, or for tables in your SMASHDOC. So let's edit. No, I cannot edit this table because my colleague is editing this table, but I go to another section and do my work there. It is text, right? And while we are doing this, and now you see this in real-time action. So first of all, you saw it time delayed. I did not see what Christian was editing, but I was just opening the document and could instantly track the changes. Now we have real-time collaboration, but not in that simple way that you know this from Office Online or from Google Docs, where you can just see people typing, but you don't understand if they type on another page. So Christian made some changes. Can you make some more changes, please? Christian made some changes, and I get a notification. I can instantly track this conversation, and I can answer something, and I can go there and say, there are new changes in this table. This is what he changed. Thank you very much. And here's another change. Okay, thank you very much. And you can see I do this in real time, right? He's changing an image on a completely different page while I'm at the end of the document, but it's just one click. It can immediately understand what has been changed, right? And while we're working, we can always check the content, because we have a wonderful tool called Acrolinx. We go to our content, we check the content, and we can see all the suggestions and all the help which will be provided by Acrolinx. And it says, well, just go to this and call it key points. And look at that. If I say, yes, let's call it key points, then it will create now track changes. That means in the drafting process, there is no track changes because I'm drafting the content. It doesn't make any sense to have track changes. But at the moment when I collaborate with other people, these suggestions and all what we do on this document is something where we use the revolutionary track changes technology from SMASHDOCs. As you can see, and you can take a look inside of the audit trail or to the audit trail, and you will see that has been also recorded in the audit trail. So it's super, super easy to create content. It's super easy to get all these wonderful help from Acrolinx. And as you can see, we are working heavily on this document, right? So, and you're working on a section, right? Okay, so when we're done, right, so we can now go there and say, I'm fine with this, for example, and I'm happy with this, and maybe I'm not sure about this, so let's set up a comment and say, I set up a comment and say, I am not sure about this, right? So there's one feature I want to show you now for comments, because we made it intelligent. We can say who's able to see the comment, right? Everyone can see the comment. It's like in Google Docs or in Word. Or we can select people. For example, my colleague Christian Gericke, which is now the only one together with me, which is able to see the content, this comment. That means You don't have to email in parallel anymore. You can have private conversations right here in the document at the section where you want to have the comment, So we can make decisions, or if we're not sure before we hand it over to the approver, we just leave it open. We can say, okay, now take it out, no problem, or this is fine. This is okay, I'm not sure about this, and here's a new change, by the way. Can you stop it? Thank you very much. So, we're done now, okay?
Okay.
So, we're done now with this version, and you can remember the process. Now we're reaching step 3. That means Christian and me, we are handing it over to the approver, and I will show you how easy this is. I can just go there and say, add a new user. The approver today is Bruce Willis, and we invite Bruce Willis. Please approve. And now Bruce Willis is getting an email. He's wondering why he's getting so many emails, but it's a different story. And I will show you how Bruce Willis will see this. Therefore, I have a second browser on a second screen right here. And this is the login for Bruce Willis, by the way. So if Bruce Willis is now logging in, he gets instantly a notification that there is a new document. He has a lot of documents to review, by the way, and he doesn't have to search for this. These are all his documents, but as you can see, it's automatically filtered. So you can see all the documents which have new changes or which have something to do for Bruce Willis. And here's a completely new document. So just select it. Now we have 3 users at the same time at the same document. But as you can see, Bruce Willis can see the latest version or the latest status of this document. And if he wants to take a look in the history, it's just a piece of cake because he's working with SMASHDOCs. He can see all the changes, all the previous versions of an image, all the previous changes made to a table, a piece of cake. And now the approver says, well, I'm fine with this. And he's taking a look at this and said, this is wonderful. And I don't like this, for example. And of course, all the other people now understand what the approver is doing. We switch back to the first user, and as you can see, here's what the first user that you've seen, the author, is seeing. He can understand the approvals or the decisions coming from the approver, right? So this is the way how it goes, and if he has some more questions and says, I would prefer, for example, version number 1, then he makes some comments and said, let's take version 1 to everyone, right? So you can have conversations between 3 people, right? I started alone, I have now my product manager, now we're 3, and if you end up with 20 people, it's not a problem in SMASHDOCs because it's a very simple interface, and it will always guide you. It will always show you if there is something new that you have missed, and if there is something that you should take a look at, right? So now let's say we're done with our document. Do you want to say something?
No. Yeah. Final Acrolinx check.
Yeah, final Acrolinx check, of course. I forgot this. Sorry. Again, I just take the document, I click on check, and I have a long list of things to do, which I'm not doing right now because we're running out of time. But of course, I can go there and say, well, is this right? Yes, this is right. Okay, I'm doing this. Or can you write this in an active voice? Okay, we do this later. Is this maybe a typo? Yes, it is. So I just change it, and now it will be changed. Okay. So we're done with our document, so I approve everything with just one single click because I'm the approver, and this is the final version. Again, if you want to go back to history, it's not a problem because it's just one click. So that's the final version. We're at the end of this process, and I come back to this slide from my colleague with the output capabilities of SMASHDOCs. I did not want to do so. That's the output capabilities of SMASHDOCs, which is showing you exactly you can actually export in any kind of file format, in any kind of data structure, and in any kind of design because of a very simple reason. It's not an ordinary document. It's a document which is built by fragments which are managed in a database, and that makes it super easy. We don't convert XML to something else. We are producing XML, or we are producing, for example, a Word document. Let's say we use the standard export of SMASHDOCs, for example. Then we're doing this right now and producing a Word document. So there's no specific design because that's the standard Word document export, which looks like this. As you can see, very simple. Here's the image, here's the table. That's how it goes. Very simple. But if you have a more sophisticated design, you can use all these formatting capabilities in Word, for example, and now I'm using a template of the German IT Association. And if they are doing this, their documents look like this. It's the same document, by the way, but now it looks like this. Right? You have a cover page, something hard-coded in between, and here's the text. You can create a table of contents, a list of images. Let's do this in the last demo. Let's say we're using, where is it? This one, right? Then we need a table of content, a list of figures, a list of tables. And now it looks in the design of the German pension fund, which is also a customer of us, from us. So, and here we go, right? Table of content, list of figures, list of tables. So you have a perfect preview in Word. There's a lot of people who love that. And Word is a great tool as long as you don't have to collaborate in Word. So Word is one thing, but I told you we can produce actually every kind of file format. For example, an XML. Well, this is an XML format for a publishing software which is producing books. And now we're producing an XML file which is perfectly made for their solution, as you can see. We can, by the way, we can interact with this solution. Now we're producing this XML and sending it in the background to their solution. They are producing an ebook, and they will deliver it back to us. And here we go. Here's my ebook. Hello. This is it, right? Based on XML. So again, you can produce any kind of file format, any kind of data structure, any kind of design out of SMASHDOCs, or what I told you already is you can send it back. So if you inject content, for example, from the content application, then you do the magic here with review and the magic with linguistic checking supported by Acrolinx, and then you push the content back in any specific file format and data structure that you are telling us how we should do that, so that you can push it back to any other application, so you can further process this. By the way, if we're talking about compliance and you need a report of all the changes and all the conversations that we made in that, then you see the reporting capabilities. And at the end of the day, to be honest, it's not really a big challenge if you have a data structure like this. If you have a data structure like this, it's quite impossible what I'm doing right now in just 2 seconds. I'm reporting all the changes and all the comments that we had in the past. And we do this in HTML. We call it an all-in-one report. And it's just 1, 2 seconds. And I can see the first section had 2 changes, right? This is a suggestion, this is the approval. The second one, this is the history from the second one, the history from the third one. I had a conversation and we had some changes. These are the previous images that I had in the document, and we had conversations, some changes. This is the history of the table. This is just great, right? So again, what you've seen in the demo is there was an author drafting something supported by Acrolinx. We handed it over to my colleague, the product manager, and we started collaboration by tracking changes and having conversations, but in a very, very easy and a very fast way, again, supported by Acrolinx. And in the third step, we included the approver and restarted that collaboration process again by tracking changes and having conversations. And what you don't see on this screen is, of course, we produced something out of SMASHDOCs. So let me have a look to my colleague. Did I forget anything? No.
No, we could probably talk for hours, but I think we pause here. And okay. I think we hand it back over you, Deb, and thank you very much. And we are open for questions.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, Christian, I want to first thank you for a very informative and insightful demo. And we do have a number of questions that came in. Before we jump into those questions, if you did join late, both the slides and the recording of the presentation will be available. You will be receiving an email from me tomorrow, debsimons@acrolinx.com. Please be sure to take a look at that email for both the slides and the link to the presentation. So let's jump into the questions. Some of these may have already been answered throughout the demo, but I think it's important that we still share these. So the first one is, we have a need to maintain different versions of the same paragraph in the same document. Is there a way to conditionally filter the content into the final document? Sometimes we have multiple filters, for example, OS and product version. Can you do that?
Well, actually, we should share the screen again. It's easier. So I hopefully you can see my screen. Hopefully, yeah. So of course we have separate versions for every single paragraph in the document. That's what we were demonstrating. So if you change something in this paragraph, you have these records in the audit trail. What you could do, but you don't see it in this demo, is you could create snapshots. So if you have a specific if you reach the end of that process step, for example, and say, okay, I'm done with drafting, I create the first snapshot. Or if these two guys are done with their process, they're creating a snapshot. Then, again, you don't see it in this demo. Then you would see that these changes belong to the first snapshot, and these other three changes belong to the second snapshot or a third snapshot. So yes, you can do versioning to every section in a very, very granular way, but you can make it more, you can make bigger versions by using the snapshot feature in SMASHDOCs. Hope this is answering your question.
Thanks, Christian. The next question is the metadata associated with the document being managed?
Yes, it is configurable. So if you have a look at, it's very simple because it's our demo system, but you can see we have some metadata here, like the file name, title, subtitle, description, we have tags, footer, whatever it is, right? So it depends on what you want to do. If we, for example, have publishing companies, they give us a list of metadata that we are including into this dialog, and they have tabs where they manage all these metadata. If they send us something from a content application, we can extract this metadata, show it in the dialog, and of course, if we export it, we can export it in a structured way back to whatever it should be. Yes, so the answer is yes. Not out of the box, of course, because everyone has different ideas of metadata, but if you let us know what we should do, it's a piece of cake to do that.
Okay. Next question. We often need to include content, paragraphs, for example, by reference from other documents in the target document while maintaining the original reused chunk, not just derivative reuse by copy. We also need to be able to filter those to be included or excluded in the final document. Can you do that?
Currently, no, but we have that requirements in the project, so we're working on this. What we call, it's kind of what we call cross-references, or it's taxonomy. So first of all, let's talk about cross-references first. So you can cross-reference every section, which is very simple in that kind of architecture. So because every of these sections, for example, has an URL. So you have the section link, and you can see this particular section has an URL, and you can really open the document and jump to a specific section. That's the first thing. Of course, we can build cross-references between documents, and of course, but it's not done right now. It's part of the project which is coming. We need to do something like tagging. So you can go there and say, I take these sections and I create some tags and save it in a third-party application like a component CMS system or something like that. And this is exactly what we're working on. So you will get a feature saying like, use some of these text, create tags, create the tags for it, and save it in a component CMS. And later on, we have a new tab here to the left where you can say, I want to have a look into the component CMS, searching for some tags and just dragging and dropping the content, but not as a copy of the content, but as a reference to that content. So I maintain the content in the component CMS, and I build the content by dragging and dropping it into the SMASHDOCs editor.
Thank you. Next question, and I think we've already covered this, but maybe as a refresher, can SMASHDOCs produce HTML?
Yes. So this is the different export capabilities that we have in our demo system here, and we also have a demo for HTML. What you see right here is different kind of reporting. So it's producing a final version, for example, no redlining, no conversations. And of course, if you now use your CSS information, it can look completely different, right? We are not the design tool. So we're producing a pure HTML with all the relevant information that you need, and use your CSS styles to style the document. But as you can see, it's quite simple. What I showed in the demo was the HTML report, not just to produce the final version, but to produce this all in one report. For example, we showed this in the demo, but yes, the answer is yes. We can produce HTML, and of course, just a quick note on that. For example, we built something in WordPress. So we have a blog in WordPress, and we can now send this document to the WordPress blog and just send the HTML there, and it gets immediately the design of the blog and can be published instantly. This is one of the connections. When you remember this image, what we say here, then we push it to WordPress. We get it from somewhere, for example, from a Word document or from a Google Docs document. We do the magic here together with Acrolinx, and we push it further to, for example, WordPress. Yeah, it's possible. Or it's the same like I did with the EPUB, right? I pushed it to the EPUB producing system, and the system was giving me back the final product, meaning the EPUB.
Okay, great. Okay, we have several more questions. We're going to try to answer all of these. Does SMASHDOCs allow the management of how comments are disposed of? For example, accept, reject, further review, etc.
Yes, there's a roles and rights management system inside of SMASHDOCs, which first of all gives every user a role. There's the reader, that means he can only read. There's the commentator, which can only set up comments and answer to comments, but only these comments where he is involved in. Please don't forget, we can control for every comment whether everyone can see it or just I'm the only one which can see it, which is like a sticky note for myself. Or I can define specific people for every comment and for having a private conversation with these people. Editor means I can suggest changes. I show it just quickly. I go there and I suggest to delete this, right? And if I have the right to approve, I see these two buttons. If I'm just an editor, commentator, or reader, I don't see these two buttons. And so I cannot, for example, decide about the comments. So yes, this is the way how we do this in SMASHDOCs with the roles. And as you can see, there are some additional rights, like if people can invite other people, or can this user see the section history? Because we had some customers which said, well, we have some people that shouldn't be allowed to see the section history for whatever reason. Then it's just one click, and now this user cannot see the section history, or he cannot be the admin of the document. That's the roles and rights concept. And it can be enhanced. Again, coming out of publishing, we have some more roles for other customers, but basically you find these 4 roles. If you need more, just let us know. We can do this.
Great. Next question, is there a trial version?
Yes.
Yeah, see, that's a question. So what you could do, SmashDocs is free for individuals, as we say. So if you go on www.smashdocs.net, you will find a subscribe button. You can register and play with it. You can invite colleagues. You can import documents. A few of the functionalities, like all the exporting capabilities, are not available in the free version. You need to contact us for that, but you can easily try it out on your own.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. How would SmashDocs fit into an XML-based CMS, such as Exixiosoft?
So, well, there are a couple. That's a good question. So, a couple of aspects here. So we could replace, for example, in Exiosoft the editor. So if you have a tree, if you have a content structure, we would integrate into Exiosoft, maybe take out one topic, do then all the magic and all the collaboration in SmashDocs, and publish it back or push it back into Exiosoft in the same XML structure where we got it. So we could take content out, do the magic, and push it back into the XML structure.
Alrighty. Can SmashDocs be exported to DITA XML?
Yes. So the answer is yes. So as Christian said earlier, we can basically apply any scheme or any DTD as needed. So the answer is yes. We're a little bit shorter answer for the sake of timing. So the answer is yes. It's very easy to do.
Okay. Can you set deadlines for reviewers and approvers?
No. So it's not a workflow system like that. So you can't set any deadlines or due dates or something. It's not possible.
It's not correct.
It's not correct?
It's not correct because this is what you don't see. So I'm from the product side. This is the other guy, is the sales guy. And in this situation, the sales guy does not know what we do with the product, which is good. Then he can only sell things that we already have. Of course, we have a lot of requirements coming from can I set a due date in which or a time period in which the people are allowed to comment or to review the document? Can I assign, for example, a task from one person to another person? Please do the review until next Friday or something like that. It's not on our public service. It's not, but it's on our roadmap coming in the first half of 2017, because we have lots of customers, especially from associations and from publishing companies, which are asking for these kind of features.
Okay, and let's. This will be the final question, and we will address all the remaining ones via email. But what happens if two or more people are editing the same place in a document at the same time?
Nothing spectacular, because in contrast to other solutions, if you're editing, for example, the first paragraph in this document, and I switch to my second user, as you can see, this section is blocked. And there's a very simple, but as we think, good reason I cannot edit this, as you can see, because then you really avoid chaos. Chaos in tracking changes and chaos in your documentation. You can work on any other section in the document, but you cannot work at the same section or the same paragraph at the same time. But from our daily usage of SmashDocs, and we're doing almost everything. So we're writing marketing stuff, press releases. We have our IT concepts in SmashDocs. This is a documentation. This is a very, very rare use case. What is really relevant for us is that I can work on any other section in the document, and if I do something, all my other people which are collaborating with me on the document are notified and can instantly track the changes. But again, you cannot work at the same section at the same time.
Okay, thank you very much. So we are at the top of the hour, and before we close out, I just want to speak about one last thing. For those of you who attended the Acrolinx Content Connections in 2016, our virtual event, we're actually taking this event live this year. So we will be live in San Jose, May 1st through the 3rd. And we're also hosting 2 sessions in Berlin. On May 15th, this is for the EMEA English. And on May 16th, this will be in German. So would love to have you attend. Feel free to check out the acrolinxcc.com website for more information, and you could certainly follow us at #AcrolinxCC. So with that, I want to thank our presenters today. Again, very informative and insightful presentation. I want to thank all of you folks for taking time out of your busy day as well to join us. Stay tuned for more webcasts. And with that, I'd like to wish everybody a great day. Again, thank you for joining us. Take care.